We're going to begin in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, where despite a curfew order, violent protests and demands for justice continued for a second night in a row. It followed a stunning admission yesterday about the fatal shooting of the 20-year-old black man at the center of the rising tensions. The Brooklyn Center police chief says that the officer who pulled the trigger on Daunte Wright had meant to use her taser instead. Meantime, the medical examiner has ruled his death a homicide. Protesters did clash again with police, but there were also peaceful demonstrations earlier in the night. So Laura Podesta is following all of this for us. Laura, local professional sports teams also paid tribute to Wright.
That's right, Anne-Marie. Minnesota's pro basketball, baseball, and hockey teams all had scheduled home games yesterday, but they were postponed. The team said it just wouldn't be right to play amid all the tension and unrest.
Protesters and police faced off for a second night in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota last night.
Are y'all gonna kill me too?
Tear gas was fired as people stayed out past a 7 p.m. curfew, calling for justice after the death of Daunte Wright. The 20-year-old was killed during a traffic stop on Sunday. Body camera footage shows officers attempting to handcuff Wright when he got back in his car.
It is my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet.
Officer Kim Potter, a 26-year veteran of the force, fired the fatal shot. She's been placed on leave pending an investigation.
My heart is literally broken into 1,000 pieces.
Katie Wright is Daunte's mother.
He was my life. He was my son. And I can never get that back because of a mistake.
China Whitaker is the mother of Wright's 1.5-year-old son, Daunte Jr.
That's not fair that his son can't have his dad in his life.
Wright's death comes less than 11 months after George Floyd's, which sparked days of violent protests in the Minneapolis area.
Second time we had windows broken.
Cortland Steele's business was one of several vandalized during protests Sunday night.
I really do believe the community's hurting, whatever. I mean, some changes need to happen.
Wright's mother urged protesters to remain peaceful.
The White House is also calling for peace and calm, saying that there is no justification for looting and violence. Anne-Marie.
So the thing about this, Laura, is that the traffic stop where Wright was shot is just really a few miles away from where the Derek Chauvin trial is underway. I'm wondering if the protests have had any impact on the case.
It absolutely has. We know that defense attorneys asked the judge yesterday to sequester the jurors, saying that these ongoing protests might influence their opinions, but the judge denied that request. Also, we should mention, Anne-Marie, that the families of Daunte Wright and George Floyd will be holding a joint press conference today.
And how has Brooklyn Center's mayor been reacting to Wright's death and the protests?
Well, the mayor has come out and said he thinks that the officer, Kim Potter, should be fired. There was also a vote yesterday to fire the city manager, so now the mayor has authority over the police department in Brooklyn Center.
Wow. Laura, thank you very much.